Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Grade A Graphics. My name is Noah and today we're going to be talking about parallax animation. I'm going to show you how to take a simple 2D scene like the one you see here and give it a believable sense of depth and motion using After Effects. In case you're unfamiliar with parallax, let's define it quickly. Parallax is the apparent displacement of an object as seen from two different points, not on a straight line with an object, which basically means that the relative position of objects changes as your viewpoint changes. You can see here just how much of an effect parallax can have when you look at the original Super Mario Bros. Side by side with Super Mario Bros. 3. So I built this scene in After Effects to prep for this video and show you what we'll be making. The trick here is that the entire animation is being driven by one slider control. So all of the horizontal movement, the sky changing color in the background, even the angle of the shadow coming off the trees, it's all being driven by the same controller. So it's a great way to build a complex scene while keeping it easy to adjust. So stick around and we'll have some fun with Parallax. If you've heard the term parallax in the last few years, it was probably referring to web design. That all started in 2011 when Wyden and Kennedy designed this website, Nike Better World. The site had a huge impact on UX design, and pretty soon every client was asking for parallax. But parallax has been a fundamental concept in the animation field for as long as people have been making pictures move. Ub Iwerks was one of Walt Disney's most important artists, and one of his biggest contributions to the animation world was the invention of the first multiplane camera. By adding physical distance in between background and foreground layers and moving the layers in tandem with gears and rails, animators could more easily add depth and motion to their scenes. Several competing multiplane cameras were produced in the 30s. Fleischer Studios, the creators of Betty Boop and Popeye, had a really interesting process called a setback camera, which you can see in this scene here. And they had traditional animation cells placed within a scale model. So you can see Popeye moving along is hand drawn traditionally, but all the background is fully modeled sets that they move the camera throughout. But it was William Garrity's variation on the multiplane camera that he created while working at Disney that would be the most practical and the most widely used. And it was that camera that Disney used throughout their golden age. So Snow White, Bambi, Fantasia, I think Pinocchio, all used the same multiplane camera setup. But now we have After Effects and we can do it really quickly with just like a couple lines of coding and expression. So let's hop on over to After Effects and see how we can make this for ourselves. Alright, so we've got a new project open in After Effects and we can start with a new composition. Let's make this one 960 540, call this one Final Crop. And we're going to want another composition which we will call Scene. We're going to want this one to be really wide. I think 4,000 pixels might work. Yeah, that'll look good. And then we can drop that within the final crop, because what we're going to be doing is having this move back and forth like that. So let's just draw the scene really quickly. Make a solid that's comp size, call that sky. It's looking like a nice blue. I want to draw some mountains in the background really fast. Obviously, I'm not paying too much attention, too much effort to the illustration here. That's not really what this video is about. That's going to be good. That looks fine. Let's rename that mountains. Then in the foreground, we're going to want to make a hill like that. Cool. Looks good. And we can rename that. And what's next? Let's maybe throw some trees on that hill. I'm going to grab my pen tool, make sure that I am deselected to make a new shape layer, and just draw a quick little triangle like that. Maybe make it a nice green. Looks good. Grab the shape layer, move the anchor point to the middle. I've got this little plugin here. If you don't have that, all you have to do is press Y to grab your pan anchor tool. I'll move your anchor point and you can center that up like that. I'll rename that tree and maybe duplicate a few copies so we can kind of populate the hill like this. That's looking good. Maybe I'll make a few more and drop those behind the hill so that it's a little bit of depth like that. Cool. I want to hit Control-Shift-C, and that will pre-compose all that in the hill to keep it nice and organized. And so we've got a background with the mountains, we've got a foreground with the hills. I guess in the middle, let's have a kind of like a tree line, I guess. Let's draw another tree really fast, like that. Make it a little bit darker to kind of separate it, and center that anchor point up again. And now what I want to do is have this tree repeated along a curved path like this, which there's no really easy way to do that in After Effects, unfortunately. I've got a nice little trick I'm going to share with you. Find the path that you just drew, drill all the way down, and find the actual path selection right there. Control-C to copy that, and then find the position on your tree object, and then paste that in there. You can go ahead and delete the path that you drew, and you can see that After Effects will automatically create the keyframes. So you're getting there, you're close. Next step is going to be add an echo effect to the tree. I want to rename that. Cool. So with the echo effect, just crank up the number of echoes, and you can see what we're getting at here. Set the operator, I guess it's like the blending mode, to maximum, and drop that behind the hill. Cool, that's looking good. But you can see as we scrub through the timeline that we got the tree moving along like that, and that's not what we want. So if I pre-compose that, Control-Shift-C again, and I'm going to call that tree line. Now I'm able to right-click on that, go up to Time, and enable time remapping. I'm going to set a keyframe on there, and change the keyframe to a hold. Get rid of that other one. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. And you can see, there you go. It's holding on that keyframe, and that's going to be good enough. Really fast. I'm just going to fill in the bottom of the tree line. Grab the pen tool and just kind of draw this out really fast. It's sloppy, but you know, this isn't an illustration tutorial. We're here to learn some parallax. So now that we've got our layers, let's add that parallax to them. I'm going to add a new null object here. I'm going to rename this parallax controller. And on this object, we're going to add a slider control. There's going to be an expression controller that we're going to use to drive the position of all these different layers. So let's grab the position properties and right-click those and separate the dimensions, because we're only going to need to affect the X position, so it'll just be easier to work with them separately. And from there, we can start adding expression controls. So we've got the mountains as our background, tree line is the midground, and the hills are the foreground. So let's start with the midground here and add an expression control. Sorry, just an expression. If you didn't catch that, you just hold down Alt and click on the stopwatch, and that opens up your expression editor. And what we're going to type in here is value, which is going to add the current value of the X position, and we're going to add to that the slider value. And the simplest way to do that is just take the pick whip and drag that up there. That's why I've got that locked up there, so we can just quickly grab that, and there you have it. You see, as you move the slider control, that's going to move the X position. Perfect. So we can copy that Alt click on there, Control V to paste. Same thing down there, and now that's affecting all of them, but it's affecting them all at the same speed. They're all moving at the same rate, which is not parallax. So all you have to do is consider what's in the foreground and what's in the background. When things are in the foreground, they're going to be moving faster. So you want to multiply the value of the parallax controller by higher numbers, so we can have the foreground moving at a rate of parallax slider times 1.2, and the background can be moving at parallax slider times 0.8. So that's going to slow down the background, speed up the foreground, and there you've got parallax. That's how simple it is. From there, I mean, it's up to you how far you take this. I'm going to open up the prep video that I made and sort of explain some of the more advanced animation techniques that I've got going on in here. So you can see, let's start with the background, I guess, the color, the dusk color of the sky changing like that. Where do I have this? Okay, so you can see I'm using interpolation methods to affect the opacity of the stars and the this dusk glow kind of coming on. So all this is doing is using the interpolation expressions, which are sort of like a range mapper or a clamp. You might have used those before in JavaScript or Cinema 4D, Espresso, whatever you're familiar with. So all this is doing is interpolating one set of data to another set. So here we're using an ease instead of a linear interpolation. We're taking the value of the slider control, and what this is doing is saying when the value of the slider control is between -1000 and 1000, we're going to interpolate that to a value of 90 and 5. So it's going to invert that to make it fade out, and that's all it's doing. So you can see the value right there moving from 11%. I guess it doesn't go all the way to 1000, up to 90, and doing the same thing with this layer down here, the glow. That's moving from 10 to 60, and a whole bunch of other layers are using the same thing. The shadow and the glow along the hill here is doing the same thing. So there's that. Let's look at the shadow on the coming off the back of the trees here. I think it's probably the most advanced thing that I added to the scene. Just find this really fast. This, yeah. So in this composition, I've got my trees, I've got a little bit of glow along them, and then for each tree, I've got a shadow on the bottom of it. And I'm doing a couple things here. For the path, all I did is say use this composition so I don't have to individually copy the path. I can just say, okay, look at this composition, look in the layer that is the index before this one. So it's saying, okay, look up and find the path from this object so that I don't have to copy the path for each individual tree. You can save some time with that. And then what it's doing is taking a little bit of trigonometry to determine the angle of the shadow. So all it's doing is saying calculate the offset of the position X and the position Y, and then find the tangent of those. So if you remember a little bit of your high school trigonometry. You've got the, x position, the x delta, I guess, and the y delta. And then you're trying to find the angle between them. So you use SOHCAHTOA, you find, okay, you're looking for the tangent, and then you just have to use math, arctangent, find the difference between the two x points and the two y points, like that, and then that'll give you a result in radians, so you multiply it by 180 over pi, which will convert it to degrees, and there you have it. That's gonna give you a angle of the shadow that will be generated based on the parallax controller. And okay, some more interpolation there. And that's about it. The snow in the foreground, that's just the snowfall generator. Where does that generate? Synthesize, maybe? Or simulation? Yeah, they're just CC snowfall. I mean, that's just a default effect, and just a whole lot of parallax in there, and that's how you can create this scene. So there you have it. I hope you learned something about parallax and After Effects and expressions. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment below the video. If you learned something new, please leave a like or subscribe to this channel, and let me know what you think about all this.